All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday night, Monday, December 2nd, 2019. We're so excited to have Katie with us from the Dominican Republic and that her power is on. Yay for lights, unless it's the generator kicking in. But just wanted to remind you of a couple of things as we start off December. And it's so amazing that we still have our Black Friday sales carrying into this month. I know it was kind of odd that we had things, split half and half. You did an amazing work in November, everyone. I will get the totals for our team sales in the nation page, and I know that Melissa will move our little Noelle. Katie, we're doing a team incentive of donating a sheep when our whole nation has $1 million in sales by December 31st. So we're really excited to see that little sheep keep moving on her path. We're making our way there. But it was awesome to see how so many of you have just risen up, and the way you are sharing hope these last couple of days online and in the events you've had and with family. I hope you had a lovely Thanksgiving holiday. I know that for us it was a great time just connecting with our family out of state, so that's always a gift to have that space. But a few things just to keep in mind as we go into this final month of 2019, which is crazy to me because I feel like this month just blew, or this year honestly just blew by. But today, don't forget, every Monday, it's a great time to start off your week with the Monday wake-up calls. I know the lovely Linda Jenkins from Our Nation and Team Share the Love shared today, so make sure you catch her recording in the main Trades of Hope group. Also, there's a new program with Stephanie, our Trades of Hope trainer. That's a program called Ask Stephanie. So whether you're a new Trades of Hope partner or a seasoned one, it's a great time. On Mondays and Thursdays, she's doing Zoom calls like this. You can go ahead and ask your questions ahead of time. Email her at stephanie@tradesofhope.com. And she just has a wealth of knowledge that she can share with you with things about your business and ideas and how to keep growing strong and sharing hope and sponsoring and all that good stuff. So check that out. Don't forget that we have 2 months left on our Map to the Dominican Republic incentive from Trades of Hope. It's a great time to look now at these last, 8 weeks or so and really evaluate where your heart is, where your goals are, what you hope to achieve and strive for. Remember, things have been modified. So if you have 12,500 points on the map, you are now eligible to have a buy-in option to the DR trip this spring. And so I'm again excited to hear Katie share a little bit more about the program and what they're doing down there. And hopefully it'll just put a little more fire in all of us for the work that we're doing and that we're sharing. And also, before the end of December, though, December 31st, our Inspire, which is our beautiful gathering of partners from all across the U.S., will meet in Florida next summer. So many of us had the honor of meeting Katie at our last Inspire gathering. It's a place where even if you can't go on a vision trip or a artisan trip, you can meet many artisans at that space. And the early bird registration, which is $139 for all the goodness that we're going to get and love from our home team, that early bird rate expires on December 31st. So again, take some time, pray about that, think about what can be offered and how you can learn and grow in that space and along with your teams. It's one of my favorite events of the entire year, and it's so good getting together belly to belly and face to face. But please pray about that. Talk with your director or your sponsor about the cost and any ways that we can support you to get there. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap that up, and I'm going to welcome sweet Katie to our team page, Our Nation. Katie, we're so honored to have you here. We are just excited to hear more about what's happening in the Dominican Republic, what you're seeing, what you're doing, our new partnership. And also, I know that our new piece tomorrow to wrap up our sale is going to be a piece from the beautiful women that you're working with. And so I hope, sisters, that this is a great thing where you can learn more as you share that piece tomorrow, and we partner with this group going forward in our spring catalog. So with all of that being said, I'm going to mute myself now. Katie, you can go ahead and take the floor, and I'll let you know when we have about 5 minutes left, but feel free to share whatever you'd like with us.
I'll unmute. Okay, can everybody hear me? All right, awesome. Yeah, we didn't have power about 40 minutes ago, so I was panicking a little bit. Sometimes the power goes out. I'm actually here in the Dominican Republic in our workshop. This is what you can see our sign behind. We have some of the girls, well, one of our girls, she lives here full time. She's upstairs, but it's bedtime, so she's putting the kids to sleep. And I'm down here with my husband and another guy who works with us. So to give you a little background on me and how I started Batey Girls, I came down to the Dominican Republic 10 years ago as a missionary, and I was studying architecture and getting my master's degree in Georgia. I'm originally from England, and I was just in love with the idea that I could help people through building homes. And as that was my career choice. And so my journey started here 10 years ago, and I had no intention of being where I am today, but that's the beautiful part about my story. So finished up in my university, my master's degree, and 2 years later, I decided to move here full time as a missionary. And so I moved into a community called Bombita, and it's a Haitian migrant labor camp. So I was primarily Bateys, which is where our name comes from, Batey Rehab Project, Batey Girls, is actually Haitian migrant labor camps. So they're invisible communities that have been formed over the past 80 years, and they don't just have migrant labor workers in them. Now they have people who have lived that their entire lives, and a mix of Haitians and Dominicans. And so we were solely focused on, in 2013, we founded our nonprofit organization, and our goal was to come 3 times a year and build homes and see how we could implement sustainable impact projects that would be able to educate and improve the communities on a structural side, but also on vertical garden systems. And we started doing jewelry classes and sewing classes and anything you could imagine to try and get opportunities out to people to be able to sell products themselves. And what this turned into was we got very heavily invested with jewelry because we have a natural gemstone that's found only in the Dominican Republic and is actually found 20 minutes away down the road from us. And let me ask my husband, I'll get a stone. Jonathan, ¿tú puedes pasarme una piedra del animal, por favor? Hay la grande en el cubo grande. I'll show you a stone that we have here. And it's a stone that is only found here in the entire world. It's absolutely beautiful. It's the color of the ocean. It's called Larimar. And so you'll be seeing that in the product that's released tomorrow. And it really intrigued me because we never, the colors of our organization we created were the same blue as Larimar. It was completely unintentional. So it was definitely a God thing. And so we thought to ourselves, well, if we can sell artisan jewelry to help give artisans jobs, then we can build houses with that money. But what that turned into was 3 years later, building homes, we came across human trafficking. And we already had the experience of working with artisans. And so we wanted to see how we could pair that together with empowering women to be able to get themselves out of certain situations. And it was, let me see, in 3 años pasados, 4 años pasados. I have to ask my husband things sometimes. This is this is a huge rock. So Larimar actually comes in like boulder. This is half of a piece of stone, and this is actually a red piece of Larimar, which is rare. So you can see like we cut every single piece of Larimar ourselves, even tiny little beads. So this is red Larimar, and it's incredibly beautiful. So it's all natural. The name of the stone actually comes from, it was a Peace Corps volunteer who began to mine it first. His name was Miguel Mendez, and he had a daughter called Larissa. And what he did was, because of the color of the stone, he combined mar, which is ocean in Spanish, with Larissa, and so you have Larimar. And so that's how the name gets its name. I'll let Jonathan find another piece and he'll bring it to me in a minute. But yeah, so 4 years ago, we were building in a new community, and it was actually not a bad thing. We were working with Dominican families for the very first time. And I think someone muted themselves, so I'm going to mute that person real fast. I don't know if you can. There we go. Thank you. So we, 4 years ago, went into this community, and we wanted to start building homes for a family of 5. And it was a single mother. Can everybody still hear me? Are we still good?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Jonathan. So here's the blue, so you can see. So you would never think that something, and then boom. So this is Larimar. So there's 5 colors of Larimar. The red is the rarest type. There's also black Larimar, but the blue is the most popular. And this is a really high grade blue. I think I got this piece with Gretchen actually when I was up in the mine. So we still have it, Gretchen. I don't know if she was coming to that yet. So we started working with this new community, and there was a lot of things that stood out for us. There were a lot of really young girls that were pregnant. There were a lot of signs of abuse in terms of physical abuse to children. And we were never the organization that just went in and simply built homes. We always wanted to stay in touch with the families. We got to know the families. Maybe they had a child who was disabled. What kind of resources were they missing? How could we further help them, not just building a house? Because for a family to be able to create a home, so many times that you see people just building houses and expecting families that have nothing to move into these beautiful homes, and they don't even own a bed. And then you go into this 3-bedroom concrete structure, and there's a chicken living in one room, and the person living in another, and they don't even have a mattress to sleep on. So what ultimately, you're putting them into an environment that they're not used to, and so you're actually hurting, not helping. And that was something that I talked about at Inspire this year, because it's something that not oftentimes we talk about in the nonprofit world. And with this in mind, we built this house for a family called Santa, and her 2 girls were 12 and 13 at the time. The dad had left a couple of years prior to that, and he had left because he had 5 kids with her, and he didn't want the responsibility. He left for another woman. And the day that we finished the home and gave her the keys, he came back to claim his right on the property and his right over his family. And we didn't know who he was, but we wanted to make sure that we kept an eye on everything. And over the next 6 months, we saw him come back into their lives and begin to traffic his teen girls, who were 12 and 13 at the time, to a local businessman here who was in his 60s. And it was something that I had never witnessed sex trafficking before. I'd never, to be honest with you, this is 4 years ago, and really human trafficking wasn't really a topic of conversation per se. International Justice Mission had just started working in the Dominican Republic, so it wasn't even, there wasn't any momentum. And our initial response was to do what any American would do, which would be, let's call the police, let's see who can help them, let's see how we can go in and provide some kind of support for the women, for this lady and her children. And the response that we got from local authorities was that they didn't care. There was nothing that we could do. And it was something that really struck me, because I felt, why am I here building houses when there's a man, because I built that home, that man came back, and I felt responsible, even though I could have never known that would have that happened. But I felt entirely responsible for putting these girls in a situation when I was trying to help them, but I ultimately hurt them. And so I wanted to be conscious of that. And so we made the decision to, I'm going to stop for a second and make sure everybody can hear me still, because everyone is frozen on my screen. So I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. Can everybody hear me still?
Yep, you're good. You're doing great. Yes, we can hear you, Katie. Can you hear me
still? Okay. Okay. Okay, perfect. So we made the decision to stop everything that we were doing. We decided not to take any more mission trips, any teams, not to build another home, and to figure out how we could help this family and other families. And as we started to get to know this family, we got to know that the situation that we were uncovering was horrific. So Dominican Republic is the third fastest growing nation in the world for human trafficking. You know, we have femicide is the number one crime here in the Dominican Republic. So it's domestic violence too that we focus on. And there's basically no help for victims whatsoever. The government pays for legal services for perpetrators. The victim receives no legal aid whatsoever. We're one of 2 shelters in the entire country. We're the only shelter in the entire country that offers space for women and children. And so you can see how the need was absolutely overwhelming. But it didn't really deter us from, it only made us think, well, this is where God has led us, and so maybe this is where we need to go. And so we went headstrong into it, and we found a house next door to the hotel where we were staying with teams, and it was derelict at the time, and I had no idea why we needed a house. And my mom said, I think it's a good idea, just move into the house. And so we moved into the house, and we just started to do jewelry classes to get the mothers out of the home and to get the mothers to bring their teen girls into the home and to do activities and to get to know them and to build that trust and that relationship. And with the jewelry that we were making in those activities, we weren't really doing anything with it. I was wearing a piece in New York City for an event for human trafficking, and someone asked, well, can I purchase that? And I said, well, no, because it's mine, but that's a good idea. And so I went back to the Dominican Republic, and I talked to the mothers and the teens, and I said, I think we have a solution, because if we create a jewelry brand and we make jewelry ourselves, then I can employ your mothers and I can provide all the resources that you need. And so that's what we did. And that was only 2 years ago. And so although the organization, we were founded in 2013, Batey Girls has only been alive for about 2.5 years. And in those 2.5 years, we've been able to do incredible amounts of work. That's all been done through jewelry sales. So you can imagine having a partner such as Trades of Hope is an incredible opportunity for us, because it not only empowers our women to know that there are other incredible women that support them and advocate for them, but simply the financial, the orders that come to us are basically keeping us alive. And it's so funny, because we went from being an organization that raised money to build homes, and it was so easy to raise money. It was so easy to get a team of 30, college kids together to go on a spring break trip to the Dominican Republic. And then now, we're trying to raise money to support human lives, and it is beyond difficult. And so that was one of the reasons why we started the jewelry, because I didn't want to rely upon anybody but ourselves to make it work. And the self-worth that the women have been able to build and rebuild through making the jewelry has been incredible to witness. Yocasta is always my favorite example, because she's amazing, and she's actually the one who lives in our home. And just to give you a little bit of her story, she came to us because her mother was in our program, and we didn't know how old she was. In fact, she didn't even know how old she was until this year. And she has 8 siblings, and they were the family that always came around. We were building houses, and we knew the kids really well, amazing kids. And we built 2 homes for them, trying to help them, and before we knew what was going on. And one day we sat down with her younger sister, who's 5 years old, and her younger sister told us that her father was sexually abusing her, that he had been all her life. And then Yocasta also told us the same. And so when she was 10, she moved away with her dad, opportunity to take care of land and watch over cattle. And the mother was pregnant with the third child at the time, and she didn't want to stay there. And so she came back to live in Barahona, which is the city where we are. And they were about 2 hours away. And so she basically was his wife, even though she's his biological daughter. And so she got pregnant at 10 years old, and she had her first child, Hayel, who's with us today as well. And she tried to get help, and she told her mom, and her mom refused to believe her. She was basically cast off. The dad brought her back to Barahona, and he sold her to a man who was in his late 60s who raped and abused her for the next 7 years of her life. And we came to know her because we were told that a girl was being locked up in a house every day at 6 o'clock, and that she was a teenager and she was living with a man who was old enough to be her grandfather. And this girl, I remember, she used to peek her head around the corner when I was in the village, and she never had, the confidence to come over and talk to me. And I met her the first day I went there. And she's the girl that is sitting in our home today. And she sits here as a healthy mother who is being educated, who is taking care of her family. She testified against her father. Her father was taken to jail last year, and he was sentenced to 15 years, which is unheard of in the Dominican Republic. Organizations like International Justice Mission work on cases for years and get maybe a 5-year sentence, and we were able to get him in jail with no bond for 9 months, and then he was condemned to 15 years within a week of doing the final hearings, which is unheard of. So it just shows what is possible when an organization takes a human life and actually completely wraps their arms around a person. And as much as we think that one person doesn't make a difference, it does, because without that one person making a difference and multiplying that one person, if I can inspire others to not be, I think it's hard in today's society to feel like you're actually doing good, because we constantly compare ourselves to people who are Insta famous, or, their YouTube video went viral and they're now a millionaire and they're on the Ellen show. And, it's a kind of a weird society that we live in today. But all I can say is that even though sometimes it feels like a lonely world, it's the best world to live in, because, I serve people, but not the pleasure of people. I serve for the pleasure of God. And so as long as I'm doing God's work, then I know I'm, doing good. So I get emotional. I
love your heart, Katie. It's so true though, sister.
Yeah. So I just, it's very encouraging. I can't tell you how incredible it's been to have Trades of Hope behind us, and people like Gretchen. I mean, just incredible company, like amazing company, and just honor and respect, like 100%. It's been amazing. It's a true partnership, and I'm incredibly grateful, because it's not for me either. Like everything we do is for the girls, and I only wish that they could be there to experience the love that I get from you guys. But I know that will be possible one day, so I'm working on that too. But yeah, I just every piece of jewelry, or every scarf, every bag, it's all handmade by these women. And the power that goes through that purchase is like amazing, because my girls sit here and they make jewelry, and then I show them pictures of people purchasing, and the orders, like they have access to our system, so they see when the orders come in, and I actually print off the PO orders from Trades of Hope, and I give them to the girls, and I'm like, okay, we have this. And so they see the money coming in, and they see the resources, and they see the things that we can do because we have those orders. And I be as transparent as possible because I want my girls to feel empowered that they have every right to have a piece of this organization just as I do, because this is their home. And there aren't many organizations that really do the work that we do. And we're able to do it because we sell the jewelry. And so that's made possible by people like you. So
I thank you. I know, and for me, I mean, I probably can speak for so many of these sisters on here that it's really a humbling work that we feel that we're a part of too. And so many of us feel so grateful that we have found something like Trades of Hope to be a part of and to be connected to our sisters, you know, in that way. And I know it was on one of our promotional videos, you know, it's yes, we have, you know, we sell beautiful bags and jewelry and things that we get to share, but it's about the heart of what your mission, you know, what you are doing on the ground. And that's what so many of us in ways wish we could be a Katie, you know, like you, but we know also in our life circumstances where we're not. So it's just a gift that we can have this. And somebody put in the comments, they're just so excited to see what this new partnership will mean, you know, with and for Batey Girls and the women there. I think it's just going to be a really beautiful thing that's transpiring. And even just with, like you said, the comparison thing. I know
they're very excited.
Yeah. Well, and just your words too, I think about comparison. We just wrapped up, you know, a really large month on our end. And so many of our sisters were, you know, working for their personal goals and things like that. And it's very easy for that. We call it the green-eyed monster, you know, to come out, and for as good as and intentional as we all are, but you're just like, oh my goodness, like, why is that happening to her and not me? And I think as women, goodness, we have so much of that we're fighting against. So your word even today of reminding us that we say it a lot, but just like every pair of earrings, every bracelet, every necklace, it all adds up to make a difference. And so thank you for affirming us in that tonight too, and reminding us of that impact. So thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else that I can further expand on, or any questions that anybody has?
I mean, you could give us a sneak peek of tomorrow's item. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. Oh, it's really nice. Well, let me see if I can. Andrew, tú puedes buscarme a Yocati con Joanna.
Sí, por favor.
I can show you. I can show you a baby.
Okay.
Because Joanna doesn't go to sleep until about now, so she's probably still awake. But yeah, this is our workshop here. And just kind of turn the camera around.
Cool. One person had a question. Are the earrings you wearing Larimar? And I'm pretty sure they are.
Yes.
The earrings, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yeah, I pretty much have Larimar or Trades of Hope. Because I have my handbag here as well. You see?
Oh, a good tote. That's a keeper.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How many girls, again, currently, how many women and girls are working in the workshop?
Yeah, so we have 12 women and children in our program right now, and then we have 6 women and girls that are making the jewelry. And that's probably going to change dramatically next year, because we've been working with the local magistrate. So we actually operate as the emergency shelter for the region. And so we receive women. And so depends on, a lot of them have been minors. We've had also, like, there was a Venezuelan girl that we had as well. And we have a new girl who we're trying to get to come down, but she is just having a baby. Se cayó mi refresco. Jonathan, ¿tú puedes ayudarme? This is your casa.
Hola.
Hola. Yo, mira, la cámara, mira. Dile hola. Dile hi. Hi. Joe, hi. Hi. She says hi and bye. Hi. Can you say hi, Joe?
Bye.
Bye. So Joanna is a year and a half. And then Yocasta has 3 boys as well. And this is her little girl. So when she was with us, she found out she was pregnant about 6 months into when she was with us.
Cute. Preciosa.
So Yocasta lives here full time. She's lived here now for 8 months. And so yeah, she makes a lot of jewelry, but she was really proud of some necklaces. We do like hand knotted necklaces. She'll show you something that this is not Trades of Hope jewelry. So I won't get in trouble for showing you.
No.
So it's a necklace, and so it's all hand knotted. Every single bead has a knot, and then it has Larimar in it too. So this is called the Yocasta. Actually, it's named after her because one of the pieces that she makes. And Joanna loves it too. Yeah. So in terms of like what we provide for the women too, I didn't really mention that, but the program is like very holistic. So we have a nanny full time. They get private medical care. Yocasta lives here obviously full time, and we cover all those expenses as well. Clothes, diapers, and then every girl, whether they live here or not, they get 2 meals a day. So they get breakfast and lunch. What else? And education, that's really important too. So they actually every morning their whole morning is education. So Yocasta, when she came in here, she didn't know how to read or write. She couldn't even write her own name. And now she signs her paycheck every week. So that's awesome. And then, when her kids are bad and she puts them in timeout, she counts to 10, which is awesome because she didn't even know what number 1 was before. So she's made huge progress.
She's like, I want it. Oh, it's just.
I see some.
Yeah, so I can read them real quick. We have about 3 minutes left. Someone asked, do you know about the Hope Mountain project there in the Dominican? Hope Mountain.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
Yes, and then others
Do they know where they're located? In what part of the country?
Yeah, Deanna, if you want to answer her, hon, like what part of the country they might be in. And then Shelby just said, she's so grateful to partner. You're a blessing, and it's a privilege and a joy. Thank you for trusting us with your stories of rescue and restoration. It's such an honor. And someone asked.
Barahona, yeah, I can write it as well. Barahona. In the gringo way, you say Barahona. Barahona. That's how my mom says it. She's very British. Barahona.
Yes. Oh, it's just an honor. Deanna said the Hope Project's there in the Cordillera Mountains.
I don't know what that is. Jonathan, ¿tú sabes dónde está Cordillera? La montaña de Corridella.
Cordillera.
Sí.
Central.
In Central. Oh, this is my husband too. He's also the founder.
Hi.
Jonathan.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
He's working on jewelry.
It's in the north.
In the north?
In the center of the north.
Like Constanza?
Santiago, Constanza. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, it's in the northern region. So it's probably about, 6-7 hours away from us?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, 6-7 hours away. We're in the south of the country, so.
Okay, and then Jarabacoa. Gretchen worked with Students International in Jarabacoa.
Yeah, so we do a lot of collaboration with other people in the country, like a lot of collaboration, because we cannot do the work there ourselves. And there's a couple who actually just moved here about a year ago, and they live in Jarabacoa, and so they do street ministry. And so we're going to be making bracelets to give out to girls on the streets if they want to get help, and that has the hotline number on it in the bracelets itself, so they can wear jewelry and be able to get help if they need to. And so there's kind of, we don't really deal with a lot of sex tourism down here because, which is actually really bad in a sense because we don't have tourism down here yet, and we have a massive human trafficking issue. And so there's northern region is more sex tourism, and then here what we deal with is family selling children. But we believe that with education and advocacy through the jewelry, it spreads the word about what human trafficking is, and also advocating and educating, young children in the communities to know that that's not right and what can they do if they need help, and just women in general having a place to go and having the support they need. Oh, I think you're muted.
I'm just going to say, I'm so sad to say, we're about to shut down, but yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing this with us. We cannot wait to meet you in the springtime. So many of us, we love you. Gracias por todo su trabajo y apoyo con nosotros. And I'm going to work on my